Jaco, I would like us to talk about something serious. Okay? It's actually horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw it the other day, and I mean, I did some research, and I was shocked to know that your ears never stop growing. more things.
And moving on to more important news. Right, so today we're going to talk about Eskom, right? So everything Eskom, Shamepiece, right? And I have some cool stuff that I want to share. Before we get to that, right, Jaco, I want to get your opinion on something.
Give it to me.
This is pretty wild stuff. Okay, so sometime, let's put it around, I'll put a number, right? Everything that we mention here, depending on the time that you watch this, kind of a little bit of a disclaimer, depending on the time that you watch this, information may change or it may
New
be...
research could surface.
Yeah, right? So, okay, here's the data that we've gathered, right? Somewhere around the 2010 mark, somewhere there, right?
Yes.
Eskom was supplying pretty much almost 100% of South Africa with its power needs.
It's a while back.
Yeah. Then comes 2021. And Eskom dropped to supplying South Africa with 95% of its power needs. So that means 5% went away somewhere, right? As of 2023, Eskom is now only supplying South Africa with 90% of its power. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about because of load shedding and then no, I mean that only 90% of South Africans currently are using Eskom.
Relying on
Eskom, right? Where's the other 10%? I'll tell you. Solar, right?
Alternatives.
Alternatives to Eskom. Yeah. So, what does that mean? Here's what that means. 2021, they were supplying 95% of South Africa's power needs. 2023, just less than 2 years later, they are supplying 5% less.
I mean, if you look at the drastic drop from 2010 to 2021, that's 11 years, and it only dropped 5% in 11 years. How much decrease percentage-wise? I'm not a mathematician, but think about that. 2 years to achieve the same decay as previous 11 years.
Well, it's less than 2 years, and it's around 5%.
Yes.
5% of the. So what does that mean? What does that mean to us as South Africans? I'll tell you what that means, right? You gotta see this now practically. When they were supplying 100% of the power, right? That means they were selling power all over the show. Oh, everything's cool and awesome, right? They were struggling financially. Now they lost 5% of the market. i.e., they are struggling more financially. Now they've lost another 5% of the market.
It's just adding up to each other at this stage.
Now, that 10% less customers that they've got, they still need that money to operate. So where do you think that money comes from, Jaco? I'll tell you where that money comes from, Jaco. That money comes from tariff increases, right? Comes from tariff increases and blah, 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 blah.
Comes
and all
from
this
the
sort of
public
stuff, right?
that has to pay for
Yeah,
that
the
shit.
public, yeah. And then you go, but Eskom's, they can get bailed out by the government or bank. Okay, right? Where does that money come from? The taxpayers.
Exactly.
So, at the end of the day, here is the situation. Let's put a number on it. Let's say it's 2 years. We know it's less than 2 years. We know realistically it's something like a year and a half or just shy of a buck and a half, right? But shy of a year and a half. And they have lost 5%. That means, right, every year around 2.5% that they will lose, right? How long before they have so few customers left, right? How long before the system just collapses, right? And every time they lose customers because people go on solar, right?
Yes.
Every time that happens, the remaining customers now have to pay for the lost customers. So they have to pay more for their electricity usage, right? Because they need a
Quite a
certain
bit
amount
more.
to get by. No. Or they get bailed out. Now the taxpayer has to pay for that. Now all these things start to add up. And here's the magic question, right? How long? So where are you going to be at? Let's say my prediction is 60% and they are outie, right? 60%. If they drop to 60%, of supplying 60% of the power to South Africans, they are dunzos, right? There is no more get out of jail free card. There's no more bailout tickets, right?
You can't come back from that,
Nah.
especially on a large scale as that.
Nah. They've got aging infrastructure. They've got horrible financial management. They've got terrible maintenance habits. It's a sinking ship. So here's the question, right? The ship is sinking, right? Now, where are you going to be at? Because currently, you can get an off-grid system for around the 200K mark.
Get your lifeboat.
Okay, so it's around 200,000 Rand. Okay, it's around the 200K mark to get an off-grid system for typical 3-odd bedroom house, right? Now, here's the question. A couple of years from now, where are you going to be at? Are you going to be the person that was proactive and purchased, whether it's through the bank, right? You get it financed. Very soon, we're going to be offering finance, depending on when you're watching this. We may be offering finance at that moment. Are you going to buy a system for 200,000 Rand whilst it still costs 200,000 Rand, whilst you are still able to afford it? Or are you going to wait years and years and years from now when you are forced to buy it? And because you are forced to buy it, industry prices rise. Now, this is not us being greedy. This is just inflation, right? When something collapses, something goes wrong, prices spike. Everything spikes, right?
In the blink of an eye, it just happens anyway. I mean,
yeah, it just happens anyway. So where are you going to be at? Are you going to be paying 500,000 Rand for that system a couple of years from now? Same system. Are you going to be paying 500,000 Rand for that system a couple of years from now? But you are forced to buy it because you have no alternative because the grid has collapsed. You heard me say it. The grid will collapse. Right? You heard it here.
It is imminent. It's
you heard
happening
it here,
anyway.
folks. The grid will collapse. It is not if, it is when.
Ominous music.
It is simple math. They keep losing customers. Right? They keep losing employees, right? They keep being bailed out. They keep increasing their tariffs. More people go onto solar.
Decreasing the amount of power given.
Their infrastructure is aging. They are terrible at maintenance, right? People don't want to be on the grid. They don't want to pay exorbitant amounts. Oh, and the most important thing, they run on small amounts on nuclear. Believe it or not, I actually researched. I couldn't believe it. Some parts nuclear, but mainly on coal,
which
right?
is an
it's
material that it won't last. It's going away.
We have a finite amount of it, and then it's done.
Haven't we already discussed we're not even using our grade A coal for ourselves? We are using like subpar coal apparently.
That's just how smart we are, right? Well, not us, right? Because us as consumers, you watching this, you go, you smart. I'm sure of it, right? That is why you're most likely on our website or on the phone with one of our consultants purchasing a Sable Energy solution, right? So that is my forecast, right? I give it a maximum of 10 years, right? Eskom will reach around the 60% of South African households, businesses, whatever, of South Africa, they will supply with power. And when that happens, no money for them, shame, peace, boohoo, the grid will collapse. I'm telling you now. I give it max 10 years. Maximum 10 years. And the question is, are you going to purchase a solar system when it costs 200K or when it costs 500K? When you're currently paying 2,000 Rand for electricity or when you're paying 10?
I'd like to add with that, with the Eskom, just the fact of the infrastructure alone. When I was busy working as a draftsman, I was working in a fire prevention company. So we were designing fire suppression, fire detection, things like that, right? So basically, we're the guys you call to make sure that if there's a fire, you don't die. You at least have like a warning system.
Okay.
I was there at an Eskom site. I won't mention the name of the actual site due to obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But it was like I'm one of the main sites. It was a massive site inspection for a few contractors. I was walking through an Eskom with the massive like silos, everything. Jaco.
Bad, hey?
Cracks in the floor. There's so it's a massive like plant, and I think it was like 11 floors. There's bridges you walk across like these chasms where you can look down where all these floors are. Between like the actual bridge and the connecting floor, there's literally a 0.5 meter crack. There's water leaking out of the containment areas where there's actually supposed to be the water to steam for the whole, if you don't know how it works. So the steam water, it's leaking. I'm walking through ankle deep water which they're trying to just clog up.
That's rough.
That's what. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, some.
No
That's
wonder.
not good.
But you know what? Hey, I'm gonna give you something more, right? So I got some stats here, which is pretty amazing. Okay, so
Some numbers and stuff.
I will put this in perspective. So Eskom increases tariffs with 17% per annum on average observed over the last 10 years, right? Now, please bear in mind that this number, 17%, will most definitely go up, right?
This
I don't
year
even
is
know what
already.
this. Yeah, whatever. What was it this year?
This year, it's already gone up by like almost 20%.
Whatever the number is, it's a lot, right? Over the last 10 years, on average, 17% per year. So now, let's assume, right, that they are constant in this thing, which they most certainly will be, unless it's like more of an upwards spike.
Unless they achieve to be greater.
Yeah, and charge you more. But if it is 17%, what I'm going to do, Jaco, is
Yes,
we're going to start off at 1,000 Rand. So when you're watching this, right, I want you to have the number in your head. The question is, how much are you currently spending on electricity per month? That is the
fill
question.
these shoes, please.
Right? So now, we're going to start at $1,000.
The bidding starts at 1,000. Let's go.
It starts at $1,000. Now, every time, right, you're going to ask me how much, if I'm paying 1,000 Rand on electricity, how much am I going to be paying in the next 5 years?
Let's get
in
this
terms of
going.
like accumulatively, from today, I pay 1,000 Rand a month. 5 years from now, collectively, every single premium that I've paid every time I bought electricity, what does that amount to? What is the total amount? Does that
Especially
make
with
sense?
these increases
Right?
in mind now.
Yes.
Okay.
So that you can see over the next 4 years that if you think that you cannot afford a solar system, you're 100% mistaken. You are already paying for it. The question is, do you own one? Answer is probably no if you're still on the grid,
Is
right?
it going down the government drain or not?
Are you ready for this, Jaco?
Yes, Jaco.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question then. If I was, as a consumer, spending 1,000 Rand a month on electricity, how much would I be spending 5 years from now?
If you're spending 1,000 Rand a month on electricity right now, in 5 years, you would have cumulatively spent 84,000 Rand on Eskom. Not spent, thrown away 84,000 Rand. If you spend $1,000 a month right now, because it goes up with 17% per year, right? You will have wasted 84,000 Rand in the next wasted in the next 5 years.
No, you can just shred that up. I mean, that's $1,000. $1,500. If I was spending this now every month on electricity, Jaco, I mean, what am I spending 5 years from now?
If you're spending 1,500 Rand on electricity a month, in just 5 years, you have wasted 126,000 Rand.
It's almost double. It's almost double the previous one. Otherwise, it was like 84.
The other one's 84. 84 plus 84 is like
It's almost
168,
double. It's
right?
almost double though.
Yeah, but not really. But still a lot, right? You wouldn't think it. But again, that 500 Rand, it's a lot, right? So in the next 5 years, if you're spending 1,500 Rand a month, that is 126,000 Rand.
Yes, these numbers are
in the
just
next
getting
5
rough.
years.
These numbers are rough already. So let's go. 2,000 Rand. Me as a consumer, using 2,000 Rand a month of electricity, what am I looking at spending 5 years from now?
Now, 2,000 Rand a month, between 2,500 Rand a month, that is the average that a South African, I'm laughing because these numbers are so ridiculous.
Yeah.
A 2,000 Rand a month bill, right, equates to 168,000 Rand in the next 5 years that you will be wasting. Put that in perspective. A full off-grid system only costs 150K at the moment. So,
Why are you wheezing though?
these numbers are ridiculous. Back to you, Jaco.
Looking at, yes, 2,500 Rand. At this stage, I'm like just wondering.
Jaco,
2,500.
it's even worse.
Go.
Get this. If you spend 2,500 Rand a month on electricity right now, in the next 5 years, you're going to be wasting 210,000 Rand. You heard me right. 210,000 Rand in the next 5 years you would have wasted. Okay, next.
3,000 Rand. I feel like an auctioneer. 3,000 5 years from now. What am I looking at spending as a normal consumer?
If you go to 3,000 Rand, this is where it gets heavy, Jaco. Brace yourself because this is going to get
already
rough.
getting heavy.
If you're spending 3,000 Rand a month today on electricity, that means in the next 5 years, you will have wasted 200, get this, and 50,000 250,000 rand. 250,000 rand accumulatively with a 17% tariff increase each year. You would have wasted 250,000 rand in the next 5 years if you're spending 3,000 rand a month on Eskom.
That is heavy. I already feel it like in my neck at this stage, you know. So 3,500 rand a year, like a month, 5 years, what am I looking at?
3,500 rand, you're looking at 294,000 rand accumulatively in the next 5 years. 294,000 rand. I'll say it again. If you're spending 3,500 rand a month on electricity, guess what? In the next 5 years, you would have wasted 294,000, almost 300,000 rand. That's a pretty penny, Jaco, I would say.
It's an ugly penny. That's rough. I mean, okay. Am I ready for this?
Keep going.
4,000 rand a month for 5 years later. What am I looking at?
4,000 rand, Jaco. 4,000 rand equals to 336,000 rand wasted on Eskom. 336,000 rand.
It's more than
just
2 off-grid systems.
wasted on Eskom. Back to
That's
you.
more than 2 off-grid systems. So now, yes.
Say it.
4,500 rand.
4,500 rand. Jaco,
After 5
that is-
years.
You should definitely watch this on video. 4,500 rand a month. That's 378,000 rand in the next 5 years that you will just absolutely waste, Jaco. And we have a last number left. And what's that number, Jaco?
That is 5,000 to round up 5 years later. What am I looking at, Jaco?
5,000 rand a month. That's 420,000 rand.
Goeie genade.
420,000 rand that you're going to be wasting in the next 5 years. So, Jaco, it's only a matter of time before it all just crumbles down and falls to the ground, Jaco.
That's
and
right.
that's about it.
Yes, Jaco. That's hectic, man. I mean, we're here at Sable Energy, as you well know. We are committed, motivated, driven to just get rid of all the cuck Eskom's been giving you. And you have no idea how much you've already been eating of this. But let me tell you, because this is hectic, Jaco. Since 29, I went and I did a little bit of research.
Okay.
Right? Hours that we have been going through load shedding.
Yeah.
Okay. We've been, breaking it down. Stage 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6. Oh, it's here. 2 hours.
Did you
here.
actually find stats? I kind of struggled to find it on the... Did you get, do you have, numbers?
I have numbers.
I
I have
need
numbers.
to know.
Jaco. So we've been seeing all these sessions and sessions, and then we get frustrated of, it's hours and hours. 3 hours here, 2 hours here, 4 hours there. Some months hectic, some months you think it's not, but let me tell you exactly how hectic it's been. Since 2019, there's been a few numbers that have been taken up. Okay, so Eskom's load shedding problem started 2018, end of 2017. Okay.
Oh, is that when... okay.
That's when it officially started.
hectic load shedding
We are
or what?
going to call. That's when they named it. So we had blackouts here and there. Oh, it's maintenance. Yes. Then they gave it a
Didn't
name.
we have load shedding earlier, before that? I remember when I was younger. Was that just blackouts?
It was never named. It was just okay, power's out.
Oh,
Okay, now we've got problems.
If we are wrong, please put it in, just put it in
Please
the
do.
comments, tag us in an article or something, because they are really sneaky with hiding stuff. I feel like sometimes
It's been here
getting
longer.
info on them is kind of.
It's been longer than I guarantee you, longer than 2018. We've been having this shit, but they gave it a name, 2018, 2017 actually.
Okay.
Since 2019, when load shedding was really felt, because when it started, we were all like, okay, power's out, we've had this. But when it really was noticed, 2019, they started picking up some hours of what we've had.
Okay.
We've had stage 3, I think the worst was stage 3, 2019, 2020. 2019, we had an accumulated 534 hours of load shedding throughout that year. Okay?
534 hours of load shedding.
That is a
Yeah, Sam.
full, put together, days of 24 hours. That's 22 full days
Yeah, son.
of load shedding. Okay?
Sorry, I'm stealing your line, but
But yeah, so this is
that's
hectic.
rough.
No, it gets better. Worse.
Not worse, yeah.
Worse. So 2020, we've had load shedding during lockdown. So if lockdown wasn't enough, we've had load shedding increase. Okay? Load shedding for 2020 was 844 hours. This accumulates to 35 days
Yes,
of load shedding.
that's a lot.
That's a lot. Gets better, worse. It then goes on, 2021, we had 1,153 hours of load shedding for the year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's 48 days of load shedding, actual load shedding for a year. That's accumulated like annual load shedding. 2022, 3,776 hours of load shedding. That's 157 days.
That's a lot.
We're not even done with 2023 yet, and we're already more than that.
You're not serious.
We're not. We're
Well,
more
this
than
is being
that.
shot in October,
Yeah.
which is rough.
I mean, they're not done with the full study yet, but we're already like more.
That's rough. Yeah, look, it paints kind of a rough picture, for the future of South Africa and its citizens when it comes to, I mean, let's be honest, right? Electricity, water, these kinds of things, like, along with a bunch of other stuff. But I mean, where we like truly lacking, let's just we'll give Rand Water a go next time, right? So, but Eskom, I mean, electricity, that's like a basic thing. That's like basic stuff. And that's just basic.
I think the hardest thing about that is the fact that we as people, we expect, more like, I give you money, we get a service, I give you something, you give me something in return. We've come to expect this, I'm supposed to receive electricity. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's the fact. We are not receiving electricity as a South African tax-paying or just electricity tariff-paying consumer. You're not receiving electricity. And this is a need. It's now come to a thing that we've expected this. Now the harsher part is that now we fear if we're ever going to have it.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to have consistency again? You're not. That's the fact. You're not going to have consistency when you're with Eskom.
Yeah. Have you ever, that expression of if you want something right, do it yourself, right? And this is exactly what all of us, not just excluding us. We are also like when we live in a house.
No, we're still consumers.
We also experience load. Well, most of us are we've got units because we work at Sable Energy, so we've got systems. We saw it makes sense.
Proactive.
It does financially. It makes sense to buy these kinds of systems and purchase them. And we don't experience load shedding and going towards off grid. Some are off grid, but at the end of the day, like, if you want something right, you got to do it yourself, right? So if you want electricity right, you got to do it yourself, right? You got to get it yourself. You got to have your own solar system. You got to take the power back into your own hands. Do you like that? I like that. What I just said.
that.
Those are some cool words, Jaco.
I feel more in control of my life because what I realized now since I've had my unit, I took the leap. I got the unit. I'm so happy at it. So what I love about the unit's function now is when it's charging, it's actually giving me the volts coming like from Eskom. I've realized where I live how inconsistent they are when they're actually giving power. When I'm looking at a system that's reading the volts, usually what? You're getting 230 to 240 sometimes like volts from
AC,
Eskom. AC. At my house, it's been fluctuating now. If around the area as well, I don't know how many people these fluctuations are occurring, right? I'm getting 280, 180.
That's rough.
Then all of a sudden 260, 210. And then this is dangerous. This is like surges that can damage your
No, but
your
can I tell you a
stuff.
fun fact about that, right? So you saying, right, sometimes 260, 280 volts, right? So that's a power surge, right? It can damage your electronic parts. But here's the thing, right? You said sometimes it drops to 180. Now, if you have a single phase appliance or whatever, right? You have single phase power coming to your house. It has something called a voltage range. So it's supposed to fluctuate between, it's alternating current, right? It's supposed to fluctuate between 220 and 240 volts. That's the range.
Yes.
Not less than 220, not more than 240. That's the voltage range. And it's at 50 hertz, right? Meaning it changes polarity 50 times a second. That is, 50 hertz. That's, but that's just boring stuff. So if it goes to like 300 volts,
You screwed.
right? No. If it goes to 300 volts and my whatever thing, fridge, whatever is plugged in, my TV is plugged in, and it goes to 300 volts. Now I get a power surge. What's going to happen? It's going to pop, right? Now I call my insurance. My insurance comes out, valuator comes out, they see, oh, it's physically burnt. There was a power surge. No problem. Here's money to buy a new TV, or here's a new TV. Massive schlep. I get it, right? Here's the thing. Here's something that they can't see. It's called undervoltage, right? This is this is a big issue when it comes to things like fridges and air cons, specifically when they run with a compressor, right? An undervoltage happens. Now, the thing dips, right? Not enough electricity. Now you mess around with this thing. It won't break on the first time or give you issues on the first time it happens, but over time, this happens regularly.
It's like eating away at the system.
Yeah. Well, I mean, imagine it, right? You can think about this logically. So I am I'm a person, okay? And let's say that I can have 50 kilograms, right, on my shoulders, right?
Okay.
And now, all of a sudden, right, somebody just throws 100 kilograms on my shoulders, right? And I'm like, oh! And I stand up and, I might take it, but like my back kind of hurts, right? And I can maybe handle it once or twice, but then, 3-4 times it happens, my back snaps, right? That's kind of like electricity. You dip it, right? You press it, too much electricity, too little electricity. But here's the thing. When you get an undervoltage, you can't see it because nothing blew. It's not burnt. We can't see it. We just know that the item doesn't work. And that is where a lot of like issues comes with insurance companies. That are a little bit more reluctant to pay out, things like that. Massive issues in the past. I've experienced that. So once you have an unstable grid, right? Once you have unstable power going to your house, whether it's too much electricity, right? It spikes too high, or it's too low.
Yes.
When you go over the minimum, or when you go under the minimum, or you go over the maximum, that is when you have kakamaracas. Right?
It's like overloading a bakkie with that's supposed to be 2 tons. You're like
you
chucking 5 tons on it.
5 tons, hey. Just gooi 5 tons.
So you can tuck it, eh? Yeah,
You
can take it all the way up the hill.
And it can work, but how long, right?
How long?
So that is like a main thing about Eskom. So not only do they switch your power off, and they are actually, like, if you think about it, they are actually in control of your life, right? So they tell you when you won't watch rugby. They tell you when you can or cannot make food for yourself. They tell you when you have to go out and get takeaways. They tell you. They are in charge of you.
They control your budget, everything, basically.
Yeah, they control your power. You control the power, you control the person, right? So, like, there's this incredible story that I'm definitely going to butcher this, right? Where this guy, I'm going to butcher it, but I'll say it anyway, right? Because it's a cool story. Like, if you know the story, it would be awesome if you can put it in the comments, right? Maybe like a link to it or something, because I saw it somewhere. I watched the video. It's pretty cool. So here's the story. Fisherman, right? He has like his little nets, whatever, or fisherman. He has a flute, plays his flute. Right? Wants the fish to dance for him. Fish don't dance. Every day. Plays his flute. They ignore him flat. So this man goes and grabs a net.
Okay.
Hoys the fish in a net. Catches the fish, right? Now they have no place to run away. Catches a fish. Takes out his flute. Fish start dancing. And he asks the fish, this is a fictional story. Ask the fish, why are you dancing? And the one fish replies, if you have no power, right? If your power gets taken away and you're cornered and the man tells you to dance, you dance.
Sure.
And that's Eskom.
That's it.
They took your power.
Yes, sir.
And when they tell you to dance, guess what you do? You dance. When they tell you go have takeouts, what do? Because they switch off your power. What do? You do it, right? When they tell you, you want to watch rugby? Oh, sis, sorry. Nia. What do? What do?
Firstly,
nothing. You sit there in the little darkness, or you go to a pub somewhere.
And some people make the wrong decision buying generators and stuff like that. I mean, it's a quick fix.
Generators are rough, Jaco.
Quick fix.
Like, we did the math on some of those. I mean, some of those generators, like bigger size generators, equal to like, let's say like a 8 kVA system of ours, right?
Yes.
Something with a similar power production. Yes, you can pay 10, 15, whatever. I don't know how much a generator costs. It's not our trade, but it's somewhere there. So that versus paying 50 or 60,000 rand, depending on the size of the system, for battery backup system. You go, generator's cheaper. It's not. Those generators typically run around 50 rand per hour. Now you go, it's not that bad. $50 an hour, easy. No, it's a lot of money. How many hours is load shedding? Let's say not worst case scenario.
Average.
How much is load shedding?
2.5 hours.
Oh, well, you got the stats there. Let's rather do that. Right? You got the stats there. How many hours? Load shedding. Let's get my calculator here.
Okay, so
Last year.
Last
3,000, that number.
3776.
3776, right? Times $50. It's 188,000 rand in 1 year in fuel, right? Now, my question is a generator still cheap?
Nope.
Nope. It's not cheap.
Initial price, cheap. Overall cost, hell of expensive.
Yeah, but let's say even I'm talking poofies, right? Because, those stats come from us, let's say, like some oaks, they kind of inflate numbers, if you know what I mean. So let's say it's half that, right? Divided by 2, it's still 94,000 rand.
Once again, is it
Still,
worth it?
No, it's not. So generators, not only that, they require constant maintenance and they break often and
They're
they
loud.
have fumes and they are loud and it's just not so a generator is a short-term solution for a long-term problem and it never, ever, ever works. When that is your model, how you tackle your issues, right? If you use short-term solutions for long-term problems, it never works out.
And those things, the power that they are giving is so fluctuating.
Yeah, as
They're
well.
constantly like, it's...
Yeah, well, I mean, some have like regulators and all that sort of stuff, but then again, the costs go up.
Because fuel still literally
Yeah.
goes up overnight.
You were telling me, yesterday diesel went up with, 2 rand a liter?
2 rand. And it was also like moments notice. 2 rand, midnight.
Yep. And here's the thing, right? And this is another thing. As fuel goes up, as the cost of living goes up, all these sort of things, if you remain on the grid, right, the longer that you stay on the grid, the more susceptible you are to these things. If you buy a once-off, you buy a solar system, you're done. That thing produces power all the time. You never have an electricity bill. Never. The life expectancy of something like that, right? 25 years, easy. 25 years, easy. Right? Takes you 4 years to get all your money back. Spend the money now. It doesn't matter how you spend the money. Because here's the thing, right? It's not like purchasing a car. You're not going and purchasing a 200,000 rand car on credit. That is, unless it's a work vehicle where you can kind of negotiate it. But either way you spin it, buying a car on credit or cash, buying a vehicle is not an investment, right?
It depreciates.
It's not an asset. It's a liability, right? It depreciates in value. It decreases its value over time. Whereas with a solar system, however you spin it, 4 years you get your money back. So whether you get that money from the bank, whether you take that from your savings, either way, it's a no-brainer. You get all that money back. Now let's say we do the math. I spend 150,000 rand. Let's say my bill is 2,000 rand a month.
Ish.
Which is 168,000 rand in the next 5 years that I will be giving to Eskom whether I like it or not. So I basically have a choice. I have these 2 choices, right? So let's say I tell you this, right? Jaco. December, right? You have to take 30,000 rand of your money and give it to me. I'm the government. And you have to give it to me. That's it. Non negotiable. You got to give me your 30,000 rand. And I will pause a little bit, right? I'll keep Jaco hanging for some dramatic effect, right? So now I'm speaking to the audience. And Jaco again, right? You have to pay me 30,000 rand. Or I'm okay if you go to Macro or wherever, right? Macro, I don't know, Hi-Fi Corporation, whatever, Incredible Connection, doesn't matter. You have to go and buy an 85-inch TV, big screen TV, right? You have 2 choices. You have to give me your 30,000 rand, or you have to go and buy a 30,000 rand TV. Now, my question to you as the audience is, which one are you choosing? Are you going to give the government 30,000 rand, or are you going to go buy yourself a big old TV? I know what your answer is because I know what's mine. What's yours? Jaco?
I'm
What would you
taking
buy?
the TV. That's what I'm taking.
Now we got to beep that as well, right? So, yes,
sorry.
obviously you're going to take the TV. So now I tell you, your answer is 2,000 Rand, by the way. How much are you spending a month on electricity, Jaco?
You know what? If I think about it,
my
it's
soul.
2,000 Rand a month.
2,000 Rand a month on electricity. Flippin' hell. So, you're spending 2,000 Rand on electricity. In the next 5 years, you will have spent 106. So now I'm telling you. So, Jaco, you have a choice. I am Eskom. You have to give me 168,000 Rand in the next 4 years. You can pay me off. It's fine. But you have to give me 168,000 Rand.
Yeah, yes.
Pause for dramatic effect. Or you can go and buy yourself a solar system. I'm okay either way. Now, here's the question. The previous question was so easy, right? The answer was obvious. Buy a big TV instead of giving the government, government institution. So, any government institutions out there, what's up? Chill.
What's up?
I'm trying to explain something.
What's good?
So, the previous question was so easy. Do I give the government 30,000 Rand? Do I buy a 30,000 Rand TV?
Easy question. Easy answer.
I go for 30,000 Rand TV. Second question. Do I give the government 168,000 Rand? Do I buy a solar system for myself? It's supposed to be as easy.
It's just as easy.
Wherever you get the money from at a bank or your savings or whatever the case may be, it's a good idea because you're going to get all your money back in 4 years. That 168,000 Rand, yes, you got to spend it now. But here's the thing. After you've spent it once, you never have an electricity bill again. So now after the 4 years, you got all your money back.
In your pocket.
Now, every single month, like if I was to tell you, like 2,000 Rand, right? After 5 years, your bill goes from 2,000 to 3,700 Rand. So every 5 years, your premium almost doubles. Almost, right? So we went from 2,000 to almost 4,000.
A month.
Which means that year 4, when I got all my money back, most likely, year 5, when I got all my money, year 4, because an off-grid system that can run that is, the return on investment is around 4 years. But let's say now I got all my money back 4 years later, right? Now let's say 5 years down the line. I was paying around the 3,200 Rand, so I should pay around 6,000 Rand now on electricity 5 years after I got my money back. If, like, let's say we have person A, South African number A, and South African number B. South African number A buys a solar system. South African number B doesn't. South African number A, who buys a solar system, right, spent the 150,000 Rand or whatever, 120,000 Rand, whatever the cost might be to cover that 2,000 Rand bill a month.
Sleeps at night.
Right? No. 4 years later, let's say they spend 120, that 120,000 Rand is back in their account, right? Because they haven't paid for any electricity. Boom, money saved,
Faster than
right?
some cars.
Hear me out, Jaco, please. Now all that money is back in their account, right? 5 years from that date where they got all their money back, they have now not only gotten all their money back, but they have saved, right, around a 6,000 Rand, a 4,000 to 6,000 Rand a month bill. They don't have to pay, which goes up, by the way, with 17% every year. So that 120K is now safely back in their pocket in 4 years later, right? That's it, they're done. Whereas South African number B that did not buy a solar system, that did not opt to buy a solar system because they had the reasoning, it's too expensive.
The reasoning.
Right? The reasoning is it's too expensive. In 5 years, they've already spent the money anyway. 5 years after that, they've already spent it again, but double, almost double. And every 5 years from then, again, almost double, and then double of double, and then double of double of double of double. We've done some of the math, some of the numbers. If you're spending today 2,000 Rand a month, right? Now, think about it. You got a house, you're going to work, you're going to enjoy your life, go on holiday, family, all that sort of stuff. This is a typical awesome life to live, right? You have family, you go. 20 years down the line, 25 years down the line, whatever, you reach your 55, 60, depending on when you want to retire, or 50, whatever the number is. Now you retire, okay? You've bought a solar system. You've never paid for electricity in its 25 years, around the time that the system is sort of like 25 years old, that should be around the time that you retire. If I'm talking about if you like earlier, right? A little bit younger. You would have wasted around 6-7 million rand.
Easily. Millions of rands
No,
just
no, no,
gone.
no. We did the math. You would have wasted around 6-7 million rand if you did not buy a solar system. Now you bought a solar system. Now where do you think that 6-7 million rand is? It's either safe and sound in some sort of a pension fund, or it has been spent in those 25 years making memories. I'm talking going on holidays.
Yes.
I'm talking buying a boat, buying a new car, buying a first car for a kid, right?
Yes.
I'm talking about buying nice things that you can actually enjoy.
Quality
touch.
of life.
Yeah, your quality of life goes up, right?
Yes.
Imagine every South African, you give them, every 5 years, you give them 168,000. 5 years later, you give them double that. 5 years later, you give them double that, right? Every 5 years, right?
Yes.
How much better would your life be? Awesome. Now, what if I tell you every 5 years I take away 168,000? 5 years later, I take almost double that away again. 5 years later, almost double that away
Keep
again.
your hands to yourself. That's
You
my
understand
money.
what I mean, right?
Yes.
So, whether you get the money from the bank and the bank charges you 30% interest, do it. But do it now. Do it now before Eskom loses all its customers and the grid collapses. And a solar system goes from costing 200,000 rand, just as a random number, 200,000 rand, it now costs 2 million rand. Because here's the thing, less than 2 years ago, we were selling a system for 45,950, right? One of our most popular systems was selling for 49,950. Without us increasing our profits at all, we actually make, I think it's something like 5 or 6% less profit. Less than 2 years later on the same system, it now costs 11,000 rand more.
And that's also because we're funny.
11,000 rand.
That's just
It now costs
imports.
56,950, but it used to cost 45,950. Now here's the thing: we make less money, a little bit less money now on that same system. The cost of goods are going up. That's life. The cost of goods go up every now
Houses,
and then.
cars, everything.
People were buying, you know the story. Your uncle bought a house for like 200,000 rand or 100,000 rand. He bought this massive place, and that house is now worth 2 million rand.
Yes.
Okay, now that 2 million rand house, right? 10 years from now, how much is it going to be worth? 10 million, right?
If not
this
more.
is just how things work, right? Prices go up. So whether you borrow the money from the bank, whether you take it on finance, whether you take it on lay-by, the point is to bite the bullet, but bite the bullet before it's a missile.
Take action now before
Yeah,
it's
take action
nuclear.
now.
Before you're just completely wiped. You're just like there's no alternative, and other companies know that.
Yeah.
And imports and just pricing of everything in general already is going up.
Basically.
But as soon as there's a high demand, there's always a massive increase.
Yeah, look, I mean, I spoke to a guy from Eskom the other day, right? From City Power, my bad. Spoke to a guy from City Power. Why not? We'll just share this publicly. Spoke to a guy the other day from City Power. He was an okay-ish guy, kind of like, I don't know. He was kind of very strange, very weird aura. His name's Philip, right? But like his name tag says Philip. I greet him and he says, no, his name's Johan. I go, your name tag says Philip. And he says, oh, yeah, they just gave it to me when I joined the company.
No, that's
And I'm like, what do you mean? So, no, it's just because I, beep this next part. It's because I Philip, right? Right? And then he proceeded to tell me a joke, Jaco. Knock, knock.
who's there?
Eskom.
Eskom who?